Hello, everybody, and welcome to, I guess, what might be, perfect time, BMG. That is just for you, mate. That is just for you. I spent far too long yesterday setting up that subscriber notification with the Sonic dancing emote, just in case BMG dropped by. So that was perfect timing, whoever it was that joined. But thank you very much for people who are joined. We've actually got 10 people watching right now, which is pretty bonkers, considering like this is just me and Luke chatting shit for a little bit. So appreciate everybody who's stopping by. Hopefully you enjoy the next hour or so of conversation. Please let me know how the audio is. I'm a little bit rusty on the old OBS, so it might be a little wonky today. So yeah, BMG, just for you, mate. No one else got special treatment like that, BMG. So you know you should feel privileged. But yeah, joining me for what might be or what is the first and to be honest, might be the only episode of just another games podcast. I've got Luke Steele. Luke, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I'm a lot better after hearing that waiting music, which was just crackers, but really enjoyable.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, mate.
Yeah, I think that subscriber was my wife as well. So shout out
was
Laura.
it? Nice.
Yes.
Laura, thank you very much. So couldn't have timed it any better. Yeah, I set it up yesterday. I was picking out the music, and as I said, just when we're waiting there, like there's thousands of different royalty-free music, and I was just clicking through listening to 20-30 second clips for like about an hour and a half last week, and then this one I was like, oh yeah, I'll get that one. If anything, it's annoying, which I think adds at least a little bit of humor. So hopefully everybody enjoyed the waiting room music there. So yeah, I just want to give a shout out a few people. The Owl Chronicles, is that Laura, judging by the yeah. Thank you very much for joining, Laura. But we've got BMG, Judzilla, fellow indie games co-host. We got Ash, Stubbs, Pucks. Obviously previously of GPG. Ash has mentioned getting some GPG nostalgia right now. It does feel a little bit like that, doesn't it, mate? You know, it's been a while since we've done a GPG podcast. Boxenberger was in a little bit earlier. Wandering Dutch has just dropped by. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. It's very, very kind of you to be stopping by and saying hello. Got anything you want to say about anything we chat about tonight? Please pop a message in the chat. We'll make sure to read some of them out. If you've got any questions, let us know as well. So but I think how we used to start these, Luke, I think just to ease ourselves into it after a little bit of time off, we used to talk about what we've been playing. So what have you been playing recently, Matt?
So I kind of been in a bit of a lull, I guess, at the minute, because I came off like the last thing that I completed was Tears of the Kingdom. So I finally did that, which I think took me about 80 hours or so to do a full playthrough. Obviously, you could spend way longer.
Yeah.
In terms of a playthrough, I think you could easily get double that. I know VJ, for example's got like 250 hours, something ridiculous, like literally like 250, 300 hours.
Yeah,
and
bonkers.
You know, you can play that game and conceivably see getting that much content. So but for me, kind of like 80 hours, I got to about 65 and I was like, okay, I always get that feeling, I don't know if you get the same, you're like, I'm kind of ready to finish this game now. Like I'm kind of in that area where I'm like, I'm strong enough. I could prolong this, but actually I'm just ready to finish it. So Finish it, I did, and I loved it. I thought it was incredible. And then after that, I was kind of like, I've been in this kind of decompression state almost, where I'm like, I didn't want to pick up another huge game because Tears of the Kingdom is such a huge game. So
Yeah.
I've kind of just been grazing on different stuff. So I've been playing like Gran Turismo 7 because it's just something you don't have to commit tons of time to.
Yeah.
I did buy a game. I bought a game called Turbo Overkill on Steam, which is basically a boomer shooter, which is really good, actually. I would highly recommend that. And what else have I been playing? I think, to be honest, that's been about it. I do have Baldur's Gate 3, and I will be playing it.
Nice.
But again, I can't. I keep thinking about playing it, and then I can't face actually starting a game that's
Yeah.
probably just as big, if not bigger, as Tears. So
Yeah, there's real sort of big game fatigue, I think.
yeah,
This well, every year, I think, you know, there's always a handful of games that are just monstrous. And I've spoken about it before on shows that I do prefer kind of smaller, shorter games. You know, if a game's 10 to 20 hours, that's perfect for me. You know, I always find it funny when I see people complaining that a game's too short for 60, 70 quid or whatever they're playing. I'm like, no, give me like a
that's
really
perfect,
good 10 to 20 hour game and I'm happy. Obviously, there are exceptions that play Tears of the Kingdom. I'm sure we'll talk about Starfield in a little bit. You know, that's probably going to be another monstrous game. But yeah, I know that feeling of going from one to the other, or one to the next one, and just not feeling it at all.
Yeah.
I really do get that. And Baldur's Gate 3 is obviously blown up, and I actually really want to jump in. I've not played it. Actually, well, I've been meaning to pick up Divinity Original Sin 2 for some time, to be honest. It was one of the games I wanted to pick on the Steam Deck, but I just never got around to picking up, and now Baldur's Gate 3's out, and I'm like, I could pick it up, but the performance isn't great on the Steam Deck, and it's 100, 200 hours, and it's just like, oh man. Like,
it's so much, isn't it? Yeah, it's just such a commitment. And again, it's I think the thing is that it's and I will definitely do it, but as you touched on, it's like right next to Starfield, which is another huge time commitment. And then you're into September and October, which are just packed with tons of other games above and beyond those two. I'm really looking forward to, like, for example, like Alan Wake 2 and Spider-Man 2, because they're going to be like 20-hour, 25-hour games, and that's like perfect. So, and I'm looking forward to Starfield as well, but and we'll talk about that in a bit, I'm sure. But like, it's just the the amount of stuff that's coming out, and there's like stuff I keep forgetting about as well, like Lords of the Fallen, which looks quite good. There's Mortal Kombat 1. There's like a lot. The Forza, right? Other games as well. So there's a lot. But yeah, so that's pretty much what I've been playing. How about you?
Yeah, so I've been pretty much binging Diablo and Halo quite a lot recently. I've been on a ranked grind on Halo as of late, but I've been playing a lot of Diablo. Obviously, this season 1, season of the Malignant came out. Been really enjoying that. Although I'm getting to the point now where I'm kind of, I mean, look, I've absolutely battered that game. I've played so much. So eventually, things are going to wear a bit thin. But at the same time, it's getting to the point where I'm starting to see kind of the flaws and the cracks. It's now getting to the point where I'm kind of like, do I really want to play it? Do I want to, just keep running the same dungeon, just looking for that better drop? Which, I don't want to take too much away from the game because I've really enjoyed my time with it, but at the same time, I've struggled a little bit there.
Yeah, it's funny because I love the game, and I put like 60 hours into it, I'd say first month or so.
Yeah.
And I got the Ultimate Edition, so I've got the I got like the early access and then the first season pass. But I haven't touched it since the new season came out. I haven't even gone into like get the unlock the free 20 level boost or anything. And I don't know why. I think it's probably because it's set in at the same time as, I was playing Zelda, and then the
Yeah,
fatigue of a big commitment, which a season pass is to some extent. So I haven't really gone back to it, but I do need to, because I really enjoyed it. But I know what you mean. Like, it's I think there is a point in every Diablo where you're kind of just like, it's not, the moment to moment's really not doing as much for me now as it was in the start, and it becomes
yeah,
almost a bit tedious. And I think one of the problems with this one as well, which I really dislike, this element, is the fact that everything level scales with you.
yeah,
I just think that kind of, it means there's more fatigue in terms of leveling up, and progressing through the season pass, or even the main game, and then the Paragon levels, etc. You never feel like you're really, really powerful, and
yeah.
it's always kind of uh, a kind of bit of a train to try and get incrementally more powerful rather than super powerful. It's a great game. I don't want to take anything away from it in that respect, but yeah, I think that was a bit frustrating for me.
Yeah, definitely, man. I understand what you mean. I think it's funny you talk about the level scaling, because they did make a change with season one where now things are kind of 5 levels beneath you or something. I think in like the
Hmm.
open world and things like that. But now what people are complaining is that the overworld's too easy. And so
Can't win.
it's always, yeah, it's always one of those things that I feel for developers, because yeah, you please one set of fans and you disappoint another, and you please them and you disappoint another. It can't
Yeah.
be easy trying to balance all the different requests. Diablo is such a popular game. There's going to be loads of different opinions on it. I think the biggest problem that I've got at the moment is the sort of affix system,
Yeah.
which what it means is if you do want to upgrade your weapons, you basically got to find two of an item to upgrade, because first of all you need a
Mm.
weapon, or a pair of gloves or whatever it might be, but then you also need to find another item that has the affix that you need for that item for your build. So
Yeah.
the sense of progression, as you kind of alluded to, is just really, really slow, because
Yeah.
you're not upgrading your items very quickly. I think I'm like level 78 now, so obviously I've played a lot of it.
Mm.
Don't let me anything any critique I've got here to take away from the fact that I've really enjoyed the game. But I'm still like using level 50 items, because I literally just haven't found items that are better than the ones that I've got, or haven't found the affix that's as good as the ones that's on there,
Yeah.
which has changed from D3, where they had Canai's Cube, which made it a little bit more flexible, I think. So yeah, it's just like I said, I've played it a lot, so it's just starting to show those cracks a little bit. But I've double dipped on it. I've got on X. Well, I say double dip. I haven't bought it twice. My friend that I game share with on Xbox bought an Xbox, but
Yeah.
I was desperate to run some Nightmare Dungeons on the Steam Deck, so I went and I guess technically double dipped and picked it up on BattleNet as well, so I could play it on my laptop
Okay.
and Steam Deck. And I've enjoyed that. To be fair, it is one of those games
Mm.
where you can just jump in, do a couple of Nightmare Dungeons in like 30 minutes,
Yeah. Drop
and
out.
then
Yeah.
dip
Yeah.
out, which is nice. I think when we're talking about these big games, having something you can go to and just dip in for a little bit is always
Mm.
quite nice.
Runs well on the Steam Deck as well. It's like, it's a bit of a bit annoying to get. Well, it's not too annoying to get set up, but once it's set up, it's actually it's a really
Yeah.
great game on that platform as well. Perfect kind of game for it.
Yeah, I was really, really surprised. I was actually tempted to hold off, because obviously not too long ago, Blizzard announced that they were going to stop bringing some of their games to Steam. Obviously, they started with Overwatch
Yeah.
2, and I
Yeah.
was thinking, are they going to do that with Diablo? Do I wait? Do I wait? But whether they do or not, I've got no idea. Maybe that game's popular enough that they don't need to. Obviously, Overwatch has got I think some issues at the moment. I think they maybe use that as a test bed, because they need a bit of a popularity boost.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, as I say, it runs really well. I mean, I've locked it at 40 FPS, I think.
Yep.
I mean, you can get 60, but maybe
Yeah, you
just for
can.
battery
Yeah.
life. It did get the fans going a little bit before I tweaked the settings. I brought it down to 10 watts and capped it at 40, and it runs really, really well, to be honest. So
Yeah. It does.
really pleased with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Tell me a
Anything
little
else?
bit of.
What else? What else have
Well,
you been playing?
I was gonna
Is
say,
that it?
tell me a little bit about what was the game that you said you've been playing, the boomer shooter.
Oh, Turbo Overkill.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about Turbo Overkill, mate.
Yeah, it's like how do I, so it's a boomer shooter. It's a bit like a really, really fast paced Duke Nukem style game is the best way I can describe it. It's clearly inspired by Doom, Quake, Duke Nukem. I think there's a lot of a, a- there's some like really cool movement stuff in this game. So um, you can tell they looked at like Doom Eternal and how Doom Eternal really went wild with your movement options and how you could chain those together to do different stuff. On this one, the big movement ability is you can slide everywhere, and like the slide is not just like it's not just like a little slide. It's like you can basically slide across like most of the arenas like in one. But what they've also done is the character has like a chainsaw or like a circular saw built into his knee. So when you slide, that opens up and you can start taking enemies out as you're sliding along. It's very satisfying. It's kind of like a cyberpunk-esque environment, like world, really silly over the top story with those kinds of abilities. The gunplay is super satisfying. It has an amazing shotgun, which I think is like a must in boomer shooters. Not quite as good as the super shotgun in Doom Eternal, but it's pretty close. Every weapon has like dual abilities as well. So, for example, you get like a dual pistols, and then their primary fire is as you'd expect, but then the secondary fire, they kind of do a homing burst and just wipe out enemies. You have, like I said, the shotgun, which has electrified rounds as its secondary, and there's like dual submachine guns, and then the secondary for those is like you drop one of them, and then the other one turns into more like a normal kind of medium distance machine gun or longer range. So it's like they've just got some really cool ideas in it, and just the level design is excellent, really, really well signposted. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of the perfect tonic to big games, right? Because I don't know exactly how long it is, but it's not a super long game. And I'd seen it before because it was in early access for quite some time. I think since maybe like 2 years ago,
Okay.
or something like that. It's only just released out of early access, but I remember seeing it and thinking it looked really cool. But these days, kind of there's a lot of boomer shooters, happening, particularly on Steam.
Yeah.
So it's you kind of separating the wheat from the chaff's a bit difficult. But I was reminded of it because I saw Eurogamer reviewed it and they gave it 5 out of 5. And I was like, oh, hang on, like it's rare that Eurogamer give anything a perfect score.
Yeah, that's funny because
So
I remember Eurogame only recently switched back from kind of
from
like
the
the label to the
recommended and essential, yeah.
And I remember they did it just before Tears of the Kingdom came out, and everyone was like, they're changing this because they're giving Tears of the Kingdom 5, and I think they give it a 4.
Oh, yeah, they give it 4 out of 5.
which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
And now, okay, that's pretty high praise, as you say. Yeah, they don't just dish them out willy nilly, So
yeah. Exactly. So that got me interested in it again, basically,
nice.
because I remembered it, and it's really good. I'm not sure how much it is. I think it's like £15 on Steam. So
Nice.
I'd recommend going to pick it up.
Good, nice. We'll have to, guys, check that out. Actually, might have to check that one out, mate. To be perfectly honest, but on the I guess kind of on the subject of boomer shooters, have you checked out Quake 2 since the remaster / re-release came out?
Not
recently?
yet. It's downloaded. Not yet. I'm gonna play it with some friends because I really love Quake 2 multiplayer. So I think the day that I go and do that, I'll actually go and play some of the single player stuff.
Nice.
But I think I watched the Digital Foundry video for that. I don't know if you've seen that, but they did a big like 25-30 minute video on it, and it's a super impressive remaster actually. There's so much content there, and the quality of it is just really amazing. So I'm looking forward to playing it. So I was a big Quake 2 fan anyway. Have you downloaded it, or is it something that doesn't interest you?
I obviously, somebody yourself, big Quake fan. I remember playing an absolute ball. It was actually one of the first kind of proper multiplayer games I got into back on the Dreamcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
They,
yeah.
if I remember correctly, I'm gonna maybe confess a little bit of a sin here. I might have had maybe a copied version of Quake on the Dreamcast. Don't tell anyone. Which might have meant it wasn't the EU version. But I believe that meant it also did come with online. I think only the US version of Quake on the Dreamcast had online
Yeah.
multiplayer. I might be misremembering that. Obviously, it was a pretty long time ago. But I remember playing that a lot. And the reason I think it was the US version was because I think I always used to end up in US servers. But really, really enjoyed that. I used to play a lot of like Unreal back in the day. Unreal Championship on the original Xbox is one of my favorite
Oh yeah, I love
multiplayer
that. Yeah.
games of all time. So I've got it. But I haven't checked it out yet. I really want to check it out, particularly the multiplayer side of things. From what I've seen, they've done a pretty good job with that port.
Yeah.
It does look excellent, and I think obviously it's on Game Pass. I think it's only like £8 or £9. I think it's $10.
Yeah.
Obviously it's free if you already own Quake 2 on Steam as well. So yeah, they've done a really, really good job. It's got like Quake 64 or Quake 2 64 in there as well, a new expansion. Yeah, so they've done a pretty good job there. Which is actually, I guess, just to take us on to some a little bit of news as of late. We're both massive Red Dead Redemption fans. Look, if I remember correctly, we both we both love it.
Yeah, it's just game of the generation.
It is, man.
Like
it is
every generation.
And I think at a very similar time, obviously, Rockstar finally announced what people hoped was going to be Red Dead Redemption remastered. Brand new game for modern systems. What it ended up being is effectively a port along with Undead Nightmares, and they're releasing that for $50, which obviously has caused a few groans amongst the community, I think. So which is interesting because they're just completely contrasting re-releases. I know obviously they're massively different games from different eras, but I think it was Machine Games that have done some work on Quake 2. I don't know if they did the actual porting work. Was that?
It was Night Dive Studios.
Yes, that's right. I think
they did that. Yeah.
Did Machine Games do the expansion?
Yes, they definitely did some element of it. I can't remember what bit though.
Yeah, so they've obviously put in a lot of work to that release. It's relatively inexpensive. It's on Game Pass, and then Rockstar come along and go, look, give us £50. We'll give you this old game. We've done nothing to it. We've taken out multiplayer, and you'll pay us. And it seems to be selling all right.
Yeah, didn't it? Wasn't it like *1 on one of the stores or something like that?
Yeah, on PSN, I think. On the pre-orders, which is bonkers, and it just goes to show why they do it. They do it because they can. If people didn't pay it, they wouldn't do it. But we're not. I don't think we're particularly big fans of Red Dead Redemption. Ash has just said Red Dead 2 is easily the best slow lean over a dead body and loot for 5 minutes game he's ever played, which I think speaks to my issues with those types of games. But
the thing is, I really enjoyed the first Red Dead, and then the second Red Dead comes out, and how many years is that? Like, it's quite a long time, right? Between the two. I don't even know how much, but a long time.
Like 10, 11 years?
Yeah, something like that.
It must be. I mean, it was a PS3 and 360 game for starts, and obviously they've had GTA 5 between then as well. Oh, actually, no, GTA. GTA 5 was between the two, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. But I think it doesn't feel any different. Like the game design philosophy of Rockstar in terms of the Red Dead series didn't seem to me to have moved on at all. Yeah. Like, it just felt, Red Dead 2 just felt like obviously a much prettier and certainly much bigger open world version of Red Dead 1. I think that was part of the issue I had with it. It was just kind of like, well, this isn't that fun to play. It's not that responsive, and back playing the original Red Dead, that was fine because a lot of games were like that. So, it was just of the time, whereas Red Dead 2 almost feels like it's out of time. It feels like it's kind of an old body with, really nice makeup almost. So, it's quite strange, but I don't think we're that bigger fans of it. Which is, I mean, look, they spent all that time on the Red Dead. I mean, it's not even a remaster; it's just a re-release. They could have just done a re-release of Rockstar's Table Tennis, and that would have been I would have bought that day one, and that would have been Game of the Year.
You're absolutely right. Baldur's Gate 3, no, sod that. Table Tennis
Yeah.
2, or Table Tennis Remastered.
Table Tennis Remastered.
Yeah. Oh man, I've spoken about my love for that game many times in the past, and it just locked in. I remember just thinking how good can games look when this game looks that good on a 360.
Yeah.
Remember back when Sweat Tech was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the NBA I think was particularly big on showcasing Sweat Tech.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember table tennis being similar, if I remember rightly.
The fabric as well, like the clothes, that was a big thing back then. In like, well, almost all sports games, but table tennis really took it to like the next level in terms of fabric simulation. So
yeah, it was a great game, and honestly, I'm not even taking the piss when I say genuinely the most fun I've had with a Rockstar game, probably at least since the top-down GTA games. Kind of when they went 3Ds, kind of when it fell off, and I've never quite clicked with a lot of their games. So, yeah, fun times. Oh god, the 360 was such a good console, man. That era for me, I don't know if it was the same for you, Luke, because I know we're kind of similarly aged, but that was just the perfect console at the perfect time, just in terms of where I was in my life and my age and things like that, and not quite having the responsibilities that I've got now. Yeah, that was a good time. Table tennis was a pretty good game.
It was very good. It was very, very good. It's a shame they didn't release it, but who knows? Maybe it'll catch on.
Maybe it will.
See there's a market for all the table tennis games.
We'll finally have our day, mate. We'll finally have our day then. So, yeah, I've seen a few people mention Starfield in the chat, so I thought we'll maybe chat a little bit about that, mate. For those who don't know, review copies of Starfield, I believe, went out last week. The review embargo being sometime on August 31st. Where's your hype levels at for Starfield at the moment, Luke? Are you excited?
Yes, I am excited. I don't know about excited. I'm looking forward to it. I think before that last the E3, not E3 Starfield Direct, I was kind of like middling on it because I've said this before. I like the Elder Scrolls games. I absolutely love, but the Fallout Bethesda games I don't like at all.
Yeah.
And Starfield, I guess kind of leans more towards the Fallout side, just because there's weaponry, guns, etc. So I was always a bit like, oh, I don't know. And there's there were certain things they were talking about in Starfield that I wasn't a huge fan of initially, in terms of the way it was described. Just little things like the fact that there's no seamless planet to space, taking off and then landing and all that stuff. And the only reason I really like that is because it was one of my favorite bits of Star Citizen, which I know isn't even really a full game still, but it's a really incredible experience to actually do that in a game. And No Man's Sky did it as well, but I feel like Star Citizen kind of takes it to really high AAA levels. So it was really cool. That element of Star Citizen is really cool. So I was kind of a bit like, I think maybe that's slightly immersion breaking for a big space adventure game. And then the Starfield Direct came out, and I thought it looked incredible. In that, I thought it looked like genuinely very, very good. Visually looked great, which is surprising. I mean, character models aside, but it's a Bethesda game. Just the kind of scope of things to do in it, and obviously interspersed with all the Bethesda RPG systems. So I am looking forward to it. I still don't know if I'll actually love it, because I don't know if it will be a Fallout for me or an Elder Scrolls. But it looks very ambitious, very cool. The kind of early signs are that it's very good. From the little teasers people are talking about. take those with a pinch of salt, obviously. I think, but it seems to be positively received in the background. So yeah, I'm I can't wait. The only real downer for me is that the PC version won't have DLSS, which I just think is just a joke.
Yeah,
I
we've
mean,
got exclusive deals with
but
AMD.
yeah,
Yeah, which is I know a bit of a shame. It doesn't even support Intel XeSS either at the
yes,
moment. It's
yeah,
just
it's
purely
it's just
FSR, isn't it?
FSR, yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, hopefully
which
I know
is
some modders
crap.
have done some good jobs of getting DLSS into games that don't support it, which is truly fantastic. The fact that
Yeah,
modders can do that, but yeah, bit of a shame. Yeah, those types of deals really do suck, don't they? Like, yeah,
yeah,
let's give
it's
less options to people based on the hardware they've got, just because AMD are giving us some money. And how much money can AMD really be giving them?
yeah.
For that.
I just don't. The thing is, if it wouldn't be that big of an issue if FSR was even in the same ballpark as DLSS 2 or 3. But the problem is that it's
Yeah,
not. It's quite far away actually. So you kind of sat there, with all the hardware capable of having a fantastic image with really high frame rates, and you can't do it purely because of a marketing deal. So I think it's Pure Dark who's the kind of common modder for these things. So I think he or she's already said that they'll do a mod day one for DLSS 2 and 3.
nice.
So I think randomly they've managed to get a review code, which is why they've said day
Okay,
one they'll be able
nice.
to do
That's
it.
pretty cool.
But it shouldn't take, like, it shouldn't be, I shouldn't have to go and mod my game to be able to get a feature that really should just be there on day one.
Yeah.
And it baffles me that AMD. I mean, it's really like it's super small dick energy from AMD because they know that, like, they they have to do it like this, because if they, putting aside the fact that obviously you can't use DLSS unless you have a 20 series or above NVIDIA card, but putting that aside, they know for a fact that FSR doesn't compete at the minute with,
Yeah.
with DLSS, so they know that nobody would choose that willingly unless they couldn't use DLSS day one, which is why they do these deals to kind of force everyone down that route and say, okay, well, everybody's using FSR.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a real shame.
And I don't really see, other than obviously, as you say, I guess the ability to say, look, people are using this, and maybe any data collection that comes off the back of that. I really don't see the benefit of doing it, because DLSS is obviously requires NVIDIA hardware, but FSR
Yeah,
doesn't. Well, it doesn't
yeah,
require AMD hardware.
yeah.
So are they using it just to promote FSR as a solution? Even though,
I think so.
it's not like people are going to go out and, I'm going to buy the RX 6700 XT or whatever it is because I need that for FSR. So I really just don't see the benefit to AMD for doing these types of deals. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm missing something obvious, but I can't see how. And all it does, I think, and because I've seen this reaction from other people, not just yourself, mate, is people have the same thoughts as you. They're thinking, this just sucks. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it doesn't help anyone. If anything, it just means people have got expensive hardware that they can't fully utilize because a check changed hands. So
Yeah, yeah, pretty
big
much.
shame.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I'm in the same boat as you, mate. I'm very much Elder Scrolls, not Fallout. I've
yeah,
never really enjoyed the Fallout games personally, but I have kind of held on hope that this is more Elder Scrolls, sci-fi Elder Scrolls than Fallout. And you're
yeah,
right, the presentation that they did during I guess quote unquote E3 season was excellent. I thought it probably couldn't have done a better presentation of Starfield. I think if anybody, particularly on Xbox, are looking at a format to present games when they want to do a deep dive, they've got it there. That game was that presentation was excellent and got me really, really excited for the game. What they showed off just looked great. I didn't really have any
yeah,
concerns. I didn't go into it with the concerns about taking off and landing and
mm,
that kind of thing. I haven't played Star Citizen like yourself, mate. I have played No Man's Sky, but that's not really a mechanic of the game I was really too bothered about. I was more just about being on the planets and
Yeah.
trying to stay alive, particularly at the beginning of the game. So yeah, I'm quite excited to check it out. I've got it preloaded on my Series X. I had to clear out some space on the Series S for that as well, man, because it's a big boy. I
No,
think it's
it's big game, isn't it?
130
Yeah,
gigs, so
yeah.
I don't have too much space left on that thing. Hopefully you can still get a decent frame rate on your rig though, mate. I'm
I mean,
hoping that with the power of your hardware, you won't be restricted
yeah.
30 FPS at the very least.
No, I mean, I'm expecting it's. To be honest, it's really difficult to know these days, which I think's a scathing indictment of PC ports
Yeah,
these days. Which is like you just don't know. You have no idea what something is going to perform like, because the thing is as well, there's like levels of acceptability in performance. So like for me, um, if I was just, let's say with FSR2, I'm just broaching like 70 frames on max at 4K, 4K FSR2, and say a quality FSR. Like I wouldn't consider that to be amazing performance, like because I'd expect to get some more out of my hardware. But I think if I can get a quality mode on FSR2 4K and I can max it out, and I can get over 60 very comfortably, then I think that's great. It would be better with DLSS because the image
yeah,
quality would just be better, but I would expect that as a minimum. Generally, I'm trying. See, the thing is, I can't. All the last Bethesda games I haven't touched on PC. I played them on Xbox hardware, so I don't even know what the last, when, let's say,
yeah.
Skyrim came out or whatever. I don't know how that performed
Oh, I mean, Christ,
at
yeah. I mean,
launch.
what
So
was the last game Bethesda released? Was it Fallout 76?
76, yeah, it was
Christ.
76.
And
Yeah,
obviously we all know what a hot mess
yeah, yeah,
that was at launch. And then yes, it's been a long time since they've released. I mean, obviously these games don't come along very, very often. So, and not only that, I mean, I know this is slightly off topic, mate, but just in general, game performance has been something that's been a bit of a hot topic. There's
yeah.
PS5 Pro rumors. I think was it Lords of the Fallen? Actually,
Oh
that
yeah, that's
where it's
1080p.
1440. Is it
Uh,
1440p 60 or is it 1080
it's
60 in
1080. It's
performance?
1080p 60 for
Yeah,
performance. Yeah, but
yeah,
on
and
consoles.
then 1440p 30 for
Yes,
the quality mode.
on the
And
quality.
I think
Yeah,
the 4040p it's up to as well, or it
yeah,
uses
yeah.
scaling to hit that as well. So yeah, that's a big kind of hot topic. And obviously Starfield 30 FPS only. I think actually the footage that they showed did kind of alleviate my concerns about 30 FPS. I think it looked pretty smooth in
Yeah.
their showcase. I mean, that could very much be being played on PC. We'll have to wait and see how it actually performs. It better be a bloody rock solid 30 FPS on console, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see, but not too long to wait if you've got the early access edition. I think what is it, September 1st for those people, and September 6th for the rest of us schmucks who will be playing it on Game Pass or aren't forking out the extra money. So not
I
too much
know,
longer
yeah.
away.
Yeah, not too far now. So I'm really interested to see where it hits critically as well.
Yeah,
I think it should do well. It should do very well. But I don't know. It's really hard to guess.
yeah,
It's like I don't know. I think a big part of it will depend on how it performs. If it performs well, I think obviously that will really help it. And I just wonder how much, how much content there is in the game that's meaningful. And I mean
yeah,
that in a sense of, we know that there's a lot of procedural, generation across the planets, and there will be procedurally generated things to do on the planets. But I'm wondering like how much bespoke content there will be. I'm sure there's going to be a lot, in between all the factions and the story and all the, bespoke environments and stuff. But and I suspect it will be more than they've ever done in terms of even more so than Skyrim and Fallout 3 and 4, etc. But yeah, it's gonna be really interesting and see where it'll fall in the game of the year discussions and all that sort of stuff. Particularly with two massively successful critical games having just released.
yeah. I think I know obviously this is just sort of finger in the air, but I think they've probably well. I don't think it's probable. I think they most certainly internally have pretty high expectations from a critical perspective, and I think that's why they give the Bethesda team. I mean, I think they've delayed it twice.
Yeah.
Not necessarily publicly, but I remember, Phil Spencer spoke about how the original release date when they first took over Bethesda was way before the actual release date that they announced, and then they've delayed it since then as well. So I think they've given it all the time they can because they want a critical and a commercial hit. Well, of course, any game developer and publisher does, but I think Xbox kind of really need it almost. And so it wouldn't surprise me just based on how these types of games were reviewed in the past if it's kind of low 90s. I don't expect it to be challenging like Baldur's Gate 3 and sort of the high 90s, but like really high 80s, maybe 90, low 90s. I wouldn't be surprised if it really does land the way that they're hoping. And one of the things that gives me confidence, this might not mean an awful lot because I'm sure there's examples either side of this, but I don't know how you typically feel, but the fact that they've got review copies out a good few weeks ahead of launch, the review embargoes before the game comes out, kind of at least shows an element of confidence that Bethesda have got in the game, which, you see it all the time. If somebody has embargoes on day of release and the review codes go out 2 days before release, it does make me a little bit nervous. So the fact that they've given this couple of weeks, first of all, I'm pleased for the people who are reviewing it because that, that must be
enough
nice.
Time.
But it means, at least to me, it gives me the impression that they're confident in what they've created and giving people enough time ahead of launch to get it out. So they're likely expecting some pretty good reviews.
Yeah, I think so. As you say, I don't think they would have been releasing it so early in terms of review copies if they weren't at least somewhat confident that it's very good. And as you say, it's very good that they've actually got it out well in advance because it's going to be a huge game. So it's nice that people will actually be able to run through it and probably give like a full maybe several playthroughs or at least one huge playthrough of it and have that as the basis for the review. So I think that's really cool. But I'm looking for I am looking forward to it. I just I'm trying to work out when to play Baldur's Gate 3 now and like when to play Starfield because I'm like you can't really play those at the same time. I don't think that really works. So
no,
I've got to try and work it out.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. I don't envy you, mate. If anything, I'm probably not going to touch on it because, to be frank, I can't be too bothered with the whole Series S conversation at the moment. Maybe for another show, but obviously it's not going to come out on Xbox until a little bit later, and it's probably a game I will buy on Xbox rather than getting it on PC. I could get it on PC, but I play most of my games downstairs in front of the TV, and I've got a laptop. I don't hook it up to my TV or anything like that. So maybe that game coming out, maybe early next year would be a good thing because Starfield will be out the way. And I mean, I couldn't tell you what the early parts of 2024 is looking like at the moment, but maybe that helps. But we'll see. Obviously, not too much longer to wait. And I think you kind of alluded to it earlier. Look, I think there's been a couple of little things that have come out. Obviously, you got to take them with a pinch of salt. But I think a few screenshots from Discord and things like that have come out.
Menu.
Oh man, not the menu. The discourse with that's with is that an ex-Blizzard dev? Am I right in thinking Grums?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I was I saw earlier on people posting screenshots that's had like 4 million impressions, and it's like holy shit, bloody ridiculous. But look, I am really looking forward to it. Hopefully it hits, and obviously hopefully everyone who's looking forward to it really enjoys it when it comes out. Are you going to be getting early access for that, Luke? Or are you going to be waiting for the normal release?
I'm not sure. I think I'll probably wait for the normal release just because there's still stuff just from earlier in the year I need to actually finish. I didn't finish Dead Space Remake. I'm not far away from finishing that. I didn't finish Hi-Fi Rush. Probably about halfway through that.
Hi-Fi Rush is only about 8 hours, so that shouldn't
Yeah,
take
it's not
you too
long.
long
Yeah.
to finish.
I can't remember. I've got like a huge backlog of Switch games as well. Yeah, I think I'll probably just wait until it releases day one,
Yeah.
actual day zero release date rather, just so I can play through some other stuff before then, and get the maximum of time before I start playing Starfield and all the other stuff as well. But yeah, I'll at least create a character in Baldur's Gate before before I play Starfield. I want to do
Yeah.
that at least.
I,
So.
I love that you've picked up the game with absolutely no idea when you're actually going to be able
Yeah, I just
to
no
play.
idea. In fact, my wife has played like 15 hours of Baldur's
Oh,
Gate.
okay. So at least
So
someone's getting some use out of the
yeah,
purchase then.
so she someone's getting some use out of it, and she's really enjoying it. But yeah, it's just this next few months are just like just so mad in terms of releases.
Yeah.
And it's just coming off the back of Diablo, and then Final Fantasy 16 as well, which was a big game that I finished, and then to the Kingdom and all this stuff. It's like just the thought of doing another massive game at the minute is difficult, which is why I will probably wait to just play Starfield
Yeah.
when it
No,
releases.
that makes sense. I said it earlier. I am looking forward to playing it. I've seen some unbelievable cool stuff being posted about Baldur's Gate. Just the way people are interacting with the game, it does genuinely seem like the closest thing to a masterpiece that you can that you can get, to be honest. And I think at least the last time I looked, it is, or it was at least, the highest rated game on OpenCritic. It overtook Mario Odyssey of all time. That is, that just goes to show how well received it's been. I saw a clip, I think it was just last night, of somebody kind of setting up an incredible amount of bombs within a goblin camp or something, and just the way.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
Which
Yeah.
was pretty cool. And I've obviously seen some really fun critical failure rolls and things like that. It's funny. It's made me want to get into D&D a little bit, just the discourse. Obviously I know you're a big fan of Easy Allies.
Yes.
Did you ever watch their Tabletop Escapades show with Ben?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It was really good.
One of my favorite, absolutely my favorite show that Easy Allies ever did. I was incredibly disappointed when they ended that. It was just so much fun. It was so funny. And obviously you've got this. It just kind of it was very easy, I think, to get lost in the hype, even as someone who isn't playing the game, and kind of and that caused you to get like a real sense of FOMO when that game first released, especially with like the Steam numbers and things like that. So I think congrats to Larian, because they've done incredibly well. I think
they've made an amazing game. I one of the best clips I saw for it was a Critical Role one, actually, but it was Matt Mercer. Who I don't know if you saw this one, but I think, if I remember rightly, he needed to get up into a castle, and he was trying to avoid enemies to do so, and he needed to get right over the castle ramparts into the main bit of the castle itself. But to do that, just the normal way would have been, this big enemy gauntlet. It would have been really difficult. So he ended up doing something like, and I saw the stream clip of it. He stacked 46 boxes up, and then climbed to the top of them, and then teleported across on a roll into the rampart of it. And I just thought, what of a game allows you to come up with that solution to a problem of getting into somewhere? It's just ridiculous. So
it's it's also one of those games where I'm glad people are sharing things like, because I just know I just lack the creativity to even come up with a solution like that. I just wouldn't ever think, let's stack all these boxes on top of each other. So hopefully they get the Xbox issues sorted out soon, and we'll get some sort of information on an Xbox release, because I think it's a bit of a shame. It comes out on PlayStation in maybe a week or 2 weeks, I think, early September.
Isn't it like the same day as stuff?
Oh, is it? It will be. It'll be like the 5th or something,
won't it?
Yeah,
5th or 6th. Yeah.
And then you get that fucking ridiculous conversation about how like Baldur's Gate 3's PlayStation's answer to Starfield and all that bollocks from
Yeah,
the
yeah,
the
yeah.
usual suspects. So just enjoy the fucking game, basically.
Yeah, I know.
But it is, I think, a big shame because it has kind of exploded in a way that games don't typically explode, and
Yeah.
Xbox players are kind of going to miss out. It's a bit of a shame. So hopefully with Xbox's support, Larian can get over any technical hurdles that they've got and get the game out so everyone can experience it. So
Yeah. Oh, and
yeah,
there's Armored Core 6 is out soon.
yeah,
Just as an
that's
aside,
next
it's
week,
like
isn't it?
next week.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
saw
See it.
we've got Ash in the chat who's talking about Mortal Kombat
Yeah.
is coming out. Obviously, you mentioned Forza, um, Spider-Man 2, as you mentioned before.
Yeah.
Alan Wake 2 is an interesting one. Obviously, they've just delayed that by 10 days. I think haven't they, just to kind of get out the way
Get
a
it
little
out,
bit.
yeah.
And I actually found the messaging around that really interesting and refreshing because they didn't say, to give players the best experience, the typical bullshit. They came out and said, look, yeah, we want a little bit of space effectively. Obviously, they said it a little bit better than that, but they're just kind of like, yeah, there's a lot of games coming out in October, and we want the game to have a bit of space. And I think that was a pretty smart move by Remedy.
100%.
Yeah, because if I remember
100%.
rightly, didn't Alan Wake 1 get kind of shafted a little bit with its original release?
Yeah.
Was it Red Dead?
It may have been actually. Come to think of it, yeah.
So,
That was in a similarly very difficult position, which is why it didn't sell as well as it probably could have. But yeah, no, I'm really hyped for that. Actually, I really loved Alan Wake. But yeah, there's just loads. Super Mario Wonder as well. That's coming out.
I'm
in
so
October.
excited for that game as well, man.
So good. Looks so good.
I love 2D. Those kind of 2D/3D or whatever you want to call them, 2.5D Marios.
Yeah.
I love. Honestly, I think I prefer them to 3D Marios a lot of the time. I just think they're excellent. So yeah. 2023 has been a pretty good game. Pretty good year for games. It seems.
It has.
It's what we want to see, I think. So. But Alan Wake 2, actually, look, I have just picked up. I saw it on a sale somewhere on some key website. Alan Wake remastered. I've just actually picked that up.
Oh, nice.
Actually,
nice.
I never played the original, so.
Oh, it's good. Yeah. Have you got it? You got it on PC or Xbox? Okay. I was going to say I played a bit of it a couple of weeks ago, actually, on PC. But specifically on the Steam Deck.
Oh, right, okay. Does it run well?
Yeah, it's like locked 60, highest settings, 800p.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really good. It runs like a dream. Looks really great still, particularly on that small screen. So it's kind of a bit. It may be a bit difficult to get into. Like, not difficult to get into. It kind of feels a little bit dated now, right?
Yeah, okay.
But the combat's still pretty good. It's kind of got the unique torch mechanic, which is cool. So I'd suggest playing it, if only because you'll get, obviously you get the story and the vibe of what Alan Wake is. It's kind of this really Twin Peaksy weird horror stuff. And then 2, like, I think the reason I'm looking forward to 2 is because they've explicitly said this is a proper survival horror game, which they've never done before, Remedy. So they've never done their games always have this kind of horror element in to a greater or lesser extent, but this one's a proper survival horror game. So that makes me really, really excited because I love that. So yeah.
Nice, yeah, and I know we're focusing very much on I guess the bigger AAA releases. I don't think we could go by. I'll go any further with our good friend Indy in the chat without talking about some of the smaller releases as well. Indy's talking about Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, which has just come out. Which I mean, it's on Xbox September 1st or something. I saw Is it John Linneman from Digital Foundry? He posted some
Yeah, he was
screenshots. He's a big fan
praising
of
it.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it just looks so damn good. They've
It just looked really
nailed
good.
they've
Yeah.
nailed the art style of that. So I'm excited to pick that up on Xbox. The game that I've got on screen here, Sea of Stars, is out next week. Is it next
Oh
week or
yeah,
the week
God.
after? It's in August at some point. I can't remember if it falls.
I'm sure it's next week.
Yeah,
I'm sure
I
it's
think
next
it's like the
week.
29th. So that'll be what, next a week on Tuesday.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
might be then. I'm really looking forward to this. Obviously, this is the
yeah.
some demo footage from the Steam Next Fest demo that I really enjoyed playing. So there's that's going to come out. I can't imagine that's going to be a particularly short game as well,
No,
as well
no.
as probably loads of other indies. And you know, indie, if you're still listening, mate, I am still playing Hollow Knight as well on my Steam Deck. So I am still playing it. I did fall off a little bit because I kind of got into my Diablo binge, but I'm still jumping in. But I picked up a few other little games like what else did I pick up on the Steam Deck? Oh, well, what's it called? I don't even know how it's pronounced. It's like Suzerain or something like that. I saw some post. It's like a tech space sort of. You become president of this
Oh, okay.
fictional country, which has been pretty cool. You know, you get offers for bribes. It's pretty interesting. Just battling with your own ethics and morals when playing the game.
I well, I did pick up and I haven't played too much of it, but just on the topic of indie games and Steam Deck games, if there is such a thing, games that play on Steam Deck. I did pick up a game called Dave the Diver. I don't know if
Oh,
people have
nice.
seen that.
Have you
Yeah,
played it yet? Honestly, I've
yeah.
been tempted to check that out because that kind of blew up when it came
It
out.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think IGN gave it a massive review, and it kind of spiraled a little bit from there. And I've been meaning to pick it up, but because I've been playing
Mm.
Hollow Knight, I decided not to. I was playing Dredge at the time as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
So have you played much of it?
Yeah, I've played a bit. I can't remember how much, but I played enough to get it, and get the
Yeah,
loop. But yeah, it's just like so. It's such a strange concept, but it really works really well.
nice.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, it's kind of like two games like melded into one almost. So you play as a scuba diver essentially called Dave, and part of the game is that you go out and you scuba dive and you catch fish. And there's all kinds of different fish in the game. You get equipment. It's almost kind of like 2D Death Stranding ish, in terms of like you've got to use your environment carefully and your equipment carefully
Yeah,
and do all that. And you've got a limited time. And that's during like it does a bit of a persona type thing. So it has a daytime section and then a nighttime section. So the daytime section, you go out and you catch your fish, and then at night it turns into like a sushi restaurant
yeah,
simulator. So you use the fish that you've caught in the day to create or help create a menu and then serve it to diners. So you have to go back and forth and like collect the dishes and like serve them drinks. It's like a tea mechanic that you can
nice.
use.
How in depth
Um,
is the restaurant side of things?
it's like it's not like super in depth, but it's in depth enough for it, right? So it's like you go out, you catch the fish. From the fish, you can then pick the evening's menu, and you'll have a set number of dishes that you can serve. And then you have a chef that cooks like and prepares everything, and then you're going back and forth and like collecting the orders, and then picking up the food when it's ready, and you get bonuses in terms of timing when you get like tips for doing going across and delivering it on time to a customer, and then you can pour them tea, and they have like little icons to indicate if they're happy or not and what they want. So it is, and there's tons and tons and tons of dishes that you can choose as well, depending on the fish you catch. So it's it's like just such a strange concept for a game. There's also like an overarching story as well. I should say that it's not just like kind of there's no context or any of this stuff. Like there is a story which is quite funny, and apparently it's quite involved later on.
Nice.
And I think from all the bearing in mind I'm not very far into it, but from all the excuse me, all the Steam reviews, that I read before I picked it up, people were saying like it's a game that kind of looks like like the tip of an iceberg. It's very superficial. It's like there's these two things and there's a limited set of mechanics. And then the further you get into it, it just like opens up into this ridiculous amount of like new mechanics that they introduce and new things that they ask you to do and all that stuff. So what I'm saying is just like the very tip of what the game offers. And there's people that have like 50, 60 hours in this game that are like, I'm still discovering new things. So it's got like overwhelmingly positive on Steam. It's super, it's got really good reviews across media outlets. So if you got Steam, go and check it out. I think it's like £15 or something, so it's very good value.
I think it's like $16.99, I think, or 60. It's or it might even be like $16.50 or something. Yeah, it's like one of the games that's top of my wish list on Steam, actually. Yeah, I do really want to check it out. But yeah, like I said at the time, I was pretty deep into Dredge. Both of them. Actually, that's one of the things I'm interested, because and obviously they're completely different games, but they've got a fishing element, I guess, in some respects. And I knew I was going to be jumping on the Hollow Knight, so I thought, no, I'll hold off on that. But yeah, definitely a game I want to check out. So I'm glad you're enjoying it. Although I'm not going to lie, mate, the referencing Death Stranding when talking about it didn't do much for us.
No. See, that's just bad taste. You can't help that. But no, it's really cool. It's a really cool game, and it's just weird. Like, it's just such a weird concept, but it just a bit like Dredge, right? It's kind of a weird concept.
Yeah.
But and I haven't played Dredge. I still need to pick it up. It's kind of right up my alley in terms of the Lovecraftian stuff, but there's just kind of these really strange games that are coming out at the minute that just have these really interesting mechanics, but they work super well.
Yeah.
I'll have to pick up Dredge at some point. You can pick up Day of the Diver, and we can compare notes.
Absolutely, I'm sure we'll maybe save that convo for Indy's show.
I should actually don't want to exhaust the indie content here, because it's an actual dedicated channel for that.
We might have an indie show soon. Maybe a little sneak peek in indie. But actually, I should probably say, I mean, not that I imagine anybody that's listening to this doesn't already subscribe to Indy's channel, but if you do, or if you don't, sorry, please go and head over to Indie Gamer's channel. I think Indy, what are you now? Like, you must be like 10 away from 3K subs, which is a massive achievement, and as I've said before, no one deserves it more than yourself. But hopefully we can get Indie up to 3K by the time we next have an Indie Games podcast. We've got Judd's in the chat as well, our fellow co-host on the Indie Games podcast. So and to be honest, we've got I guess this takes us into maybe one more thing we can talk about on the show, mate. I don't know how long we wanted to go, but we've got Gamescom on Tuesday, and speaking of Alan Wake's going to be shown at Gamescom as well. I'm not entirely sure how big a show it's going to be. I think Jeff has been definitely downplaying expectations, which for Jeff I think says a lot. But I think Open Night Live's on Tuesday. Which is not too far away. And I think actually funny, Luke, speaking of Death Stranding, I was just ahead of the show, I was looking at what was it Open Night Live last year? It's like what was the big things that they showed? It was only Kojima's fucking podcast was one of the biggest announcements on the list.
I forgot about that.
I was like, oh really?
Last year.
Yeah, out of all the things, I looked at a couple of lists, and Kojima's announcement, podcast announcement, was in every bloody list that I looked at. But yeah, I think Gamescom's an interesting one, because I don't think it's one, because it comes just after E3, where a lot of the bigger announcements are. And obviously, I appreciate we're only in August, but we're not too far from Game Awards. It's only a couple of months away. I think it's in a little bit of a tough spot where I never really go into it with expectations around big announcements, but obviously they've shown off some pretty cool stuff in the past there. The Kojima podcast not being one of them, in my opinion.
What are you talking about? That was the coolest one.
I don't know. Yeah, you can't. Not everyone has good taste like yourself, Luke. You just have to accept that one.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, they've shown off some cool stuff in the past, and it's always good to get updates on some games. And Alan Wake 2 is going to be there. I think that's probably going to be one of the bigger things that they have on Opening Night Live. But are you looking forward to Gamescom? Will you be checking out the show on Tuesday?
Yeah, I'll definitely watch it. I think you're right. Keely's been, he said it's more about showing off games that are, coming up in the next 12 months that we already know about, rather than big surprise announcements. I'm sure he will have something, right, in terms of
I don't think he will, Matt. Because
well, I don't mean like
he's even said like no one last thing. No, he's really been hammering it.
I don't think like a big one last thing. I think he will have something that he's not put out there in the public in terms of a surprise. I don't think it will be massive, right? But he will have. There will be a surprise maybe, but it won't be. It's not going to be the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer, right, from Summer Game Fest. That's something fair. Like that. Nothing along that level. So and they've already talked about a lot of things that are there. So Alan Wake 2 will be there, and there's more Assassin's Creed Mirage and Lords of the Fallen and new Call of Duty, right? Modern Warfare 3, I think he said it's going to be there. Mortal Kombat.
Yes, I think the games he's announced so far, just looking at his tweets, Alan Wake, as you mentioned, AC Mirage, Black Myth, Wukong, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 3, Crimson Desert, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Lords of Fallen, Sonic Superstars, which I'm unironically looking forward to seeing a little bit more of that, Zenless Zone Zero. He doesn't have Mortal Kombat on this list, but I'm pretty sure he has spoken about having. I know he did. He literally just tweeted also Mortal Kombat, but he ran out of tweet space. So but yeah, I know what you mean. I would expect him to have that, because I think that's actually one of the things that maybe I know Jeff's in a difficult position where he's got to try to drum up excitement by saying we're going to have these games, but then at the same time by saying we'll have these games, it kind of does remove a lot of the surprise from the shows where it's like, oh, I wasn't expecting to see this game, but you told me up front, so now I'm expecting it. And the surprise isn't always everything, but that's part of the appeal of a lot of these shows, being surprised. So but yeah, I think you're right. Genuine question, do you think Death Stranding 2 could be one of those games that...
No, I don't not here. I think Game Awards, I think that's somewhat likely to be there. I mean, at least I hope so, right? I'd love to see. I'd like any just give me some more of it. I'd love to see it, but or the Xbox projects, right? Either one of those would be cool. But I think the Xbox one is clearly very, very early still, so I don't think we'll see that for a long time. But yeah, I don't. I don't even think Kojima will have anything here. Like, I don't even think he will have a message or anything. I think that will solely be a Game Awards thing, which is a shame. But I do understand it. And likewise, I don't think Microsoft or Sony or Nintendo will bring anything to this one at all in terms of announcements from Opening Night Live. I think whatever they want to do will be at the Game Awards, and then Sony's mega showcase too, which we all know is happening any day now. But the things that he's talked about, I'm looking forward to. Like a lot of those games I'm looking forward to. In fact, I don't know if you'd seen this. I was going to ask about this, but have you seen the Black Myth Wukong previews that have gone up?
There was some sort of event in China that coincided with it.
Yeah, I think there's one in Hangzhou and then one in the US somewhere. But people have actually gone hands-on with it. So IGN have a hands-on preview video. And what I was really surprised with is, and I don't know if you felt the same way, when I saw the initial videos of the game, it kind of looked too good. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was very skeptical as to whether when people actually got to play this game, would it look like it did in those videos? Because I found it very, very impressive.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Not just in terms of, art style, because I think the art style's sublime, but technically, visually, the fidelity super high. But it actually looks like that. It's really, like, it looks
Nice.
like they demonstrated it. And I think they let the media go. Like, they had 3 boss battles and then 1 kind of level, basically. And some of, like, the boss battles are just super cool in this game. I think there's still questions to be asked about, how it feels to play, and, like, not many of them talked about that, but I think that's quite an important bit. But um, it just looks really impressive, like, really genuinely very impressive. So it's kind of up to my hype for that game, because I didn't think it was vaporware as such, but I really did question whether we'd see it,
Yeah.
actually play like it looked. But it does, apparently.
Nice. Oh, I'll have to check out
Um,
those previews. I did see it mentioned being at some sort of a event. I hadn't seen the previews for it, so I have to check that out. Obviously, you're right. Yeah, I think those types of games, it is how it feels,
yeah.
as much as anything. But that's really promising. I'm trying to think. Was there a game at Sony showcase that had similar vibes where it almost looked too good to be true?
There was
I think there's a
Stellar
game from like a
Blade.
mobile developer or something
Oh,
like that. Not Stellar Blade. It was the developer. Oh, I can't remember what it was. It looked incredible, but it was one of those ones where I was a little skeptical because I don't think the developer's known
oh,
for much. But
Phantom Blade, the
is-
Phantom Blade game.
yes,
Yeah,
that would
yeah,
be it.
yeah. That's the one. Yeah, I am still like, I don't think there's any way that plays the way that game looked,
I
because
mean,
it
if it
looks so.
does,
If it does, that's amazing, right?
yeah,
That's incredible. But I don't see, like, I remember I watched that trailer like 2 or 3 times, and I was looking at, like, the quote unquote gameplay elements, but some of the animation fluidity and the way that kind of it all blended into one in terms of combat just looked impossible to achieve
yeah,
while you actually played it, right? Like, being able to play it in a way that it kind of motion matched all the way through those animations and was actually responsive to play just looked impossible to me. I just didn't
yeah,
think that looked real at all. Black Myth, I always thought looked real from a gameplay perspective. I just wondered whether they'd hit the fidelity level
yeah.
that they were showing off, which they have, to be fair. So that's awesome. But yeah, the Phantom Blade one, I remember everybody was losing their minds over that game as well, and I was kind of like, I don't this doesn't look real.
Yeah,
Like,
but I
it
think
looks,
that's why people were losing their minds, because it was like it was one of those games that, like, you couldn't believe what you were seeing, and
yeah, yeah.
but I think that also is a little bit worrying in some
Exactly.
respects.
Yeah.
You know, it can
It,
go both ways.
you know what it reminded? Did you ever see the PS3 trailer for that 8 Days game?
Oh, eight
Um,
days, 8 days.
it was like a shootout in a gas
I'm gonna
station in
quickly
a
check
like a
that out.
Nevada kind of barren desert environment. It was ridiculous. Like, it looked ridiculous at the time. It was kind of like Killzone 2 CG trailer levels, but
Yeah,
even more. And they just slapped like a reticule on the third person like sections, and like an ammo counter in the corner. And everybody at the time were just like, "This looks unbelievable!" Like, and I remember looking at it and being like, "That is just a lie. Like, it's just a total lie." Now, I don't think Phantom Blade Zero is quite that level, but it's giving me the same sort of
yeah.
vibes.
It's funny. I'm watching this trailer now. I just thought I'd quickly look it up because I don't remember. I don't actually remember from the time, to be honest. But like,
Yeah,
also, it's like, obviously it's a PS3 game, so it doesn't look that good now. Like, looking
yeah,
back,
yeah,
seeing it for the
yeah,
first
yeah,
time. But I
yeah.
know what you mean, is particularly about the reticle. When I think about like those sort of, I guess what we used to call bull shots back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned Killzone was also like MotorStorm. And
Oh
that
yeah,
original
yeah, that's a good
PS3
one.
demo, and how outrageously good
Yeah,
that thing looked. I think the game ended up being pretty good in
it
the
did. Yeah,
end.
it was great, and
Yeah,
it looked amazing as well. It wasn't like a million miles away from that CG trailer, albeit
yeah,
it wasn't quite the level. Same with Killzone 2. To be fair, I was always shocked that Guerrilla somehow managed to get that game looking not that far in, just in terms of visual fidelity,
yeah.
ignoring the animations and stuff. In terms of visual fidelity, not that far away from the CG trailer, despite the fact it wasn't Gorilla that actually put out that was that trailer was in game. It was someone above them at Sony who who kind of dumped them in it, and they were
Yeah.
like, "What? Like that's completely wrong." And then they had this horrible expectation that they had to work with after that. So
Yeah. Those were fun times. I'm going to miss
great time.
E3. I know, very
Yeah,
much off
yeah.
topic, but especially live events because I stumbled across the Konami thing on
Ah, it's so
YouTube
good.
recently, and it's
Yeah.
just like we're never going to see those sorts of things ever again, are we? Which is yeah, which is a
It's just
massive shame. So
it was just the time before like the corporate slickness of presentations that they do now, where everything's kind of well, for the most part, everything's sort of pitch perfect and heavily rehearsed.
yeah. Oh, actually,
Um,
that reminds me. You're a fan of Daniel Dwyer's No Clip
yes,
channel,
yeah,
aren't you?
yeah, yeah,
Obviously, he's been doing some unbelievable work, recovering and
yeah.
restoring and uploading what would have been very much lost footage. And I think it was a couple of weeks ago now, but he uploaded the infamous 599 US dollars
Yeah, yeah.
Sony press conference, and I watched that for a little bit. And I completely forgot how fucking dull those were. When they're talking about sales
Yeah,
numbers and things like
all
that.
the
Like,
facts and
I
figures and
completely
charts.
forgot that that's
Yeah,
what E3 used to be. It was obviously it was very corporate back in the day, and it kind of slowly transformed into what we had through the past few E3s and now into what
mm,
it is today. Obviously, you got to remember it was very much a trade focused show originally, but yeah, it was just when they were talking about sales numbers and software units sold
yeah, yeah.
and things like that. It was it was just a weird sort of time capsule because what was that? Was that what year would that have been? 2000 and
I don't even remember.
I can't
Six,
remember now.
five?
Yes, that sounds about right.
Yeah,
So we're talking coming on 20 year ago now. So yeah, just a
yeah.
weird blast from the past. That so. Yeah, Indy's just said it's amazing what the team over at No Clip are doing, restoring all of that footage
Yeah,
that
it's great.
would have, I think, would have just ended up in the landfill had Danny not got his hands on it. But yeah, that PlayStation conference was just an absolute treat to go back. In fact, I couldn't watch it for too long. I skipped to the 599 bit because it was just
Yeah.
it was so dull for what we've come to expect now from these sorts of conferences. But credit to Jeff. I am pretty hard on Jeff a lot of the time, I think. But at least credit to him for what he's doing with Game Awards, Summer Games Fest, Gamescom. If it wasn't for him, we'd be getting nothing, pretty much.
Yeah,
So it is good that Jeff is doing what he's doing.
yeah. No, I think people often forget, with you do get some complaints sometimes about like Summer Games Fest and the Game Awards, and then lesser so Opening Night Live because it's generally a more condensed show. But you get complaints from people being like, "Oh, the pacing wasn't right," or "Oh, we didn't see X game there," or there was
Yeah.
nothing I was super interested in, and you kind of forget how shit past shows were. When you go back to the like mid 2000, late 2000 E3 shows, like they were terrible. They were for the most part. So by comparison, like the shows that Jeff does are really good because they're actually really well paced. There is some fluff, but it's nowhere near as bad as those shows were. And yeah, like it's fair play to him because as you say, we wouldn't be getting anything
Yeah.
really if it weren't for his shows. So he's kind of really stepped in that space to actually give people something to look forward to on the calendar, which would otherwise have not been there. So yeah, all hail Jeff and his friendship with Hideo Kojima.
Yeah, exactly. We would be getting less Kojima if it wasn't for
We would be
Jeff.
getting
Like,
less Kojima, which to
so.
some people would be good, but not for me. So
Yeah, so we've got that to look forward to. I'll be tuning in. I should mention we had Wandering Dutch and Boxenberger in the chat a little bit earlier. I don't know if you guys are still around, but I know those guys. Well, obviously Boxenberger's from Germany. Wandering Dutch, I believe, is flying over to. It's in Cologne, I believe, in Germany, isn't it? He's flying over to Cologne tomorrow. I think I saw him tweet earlier. So guys, if you listen, I hope you have a fantastic time in Cologne. Hopefully the show's great. Obviously one of the big things about Gamescom, I believe it is the biggest in terms of football. It's the biggest consumer show in the world, if I remember rightly. So it is a lot about the fans, and it's always been less about the companies and the announcements. And they should hopefully have some good stuff there. I know it's maybe not going to be an opening night live, but I know Xbox are going to have a little bit of a presence. I think Stalker 2 is going to be playable at Gamescom.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm looking forward to hearing some of the impressions for that. And I think Forza going to be playable there? I might be.
I think it's going to be there, isn't it? I think it's definitely there.
Yeah, can't remember if it's
but
going to be playable or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is. Hopefully.
Oh yeah, they're going to have. Oh no, they're going to have exclusive theater presentations for Starfield and Forza Motorsport. So maybe not quite playable, but yeah, they're going to have like Stalker 2, Payday 3, Gisant, which I know we're both looking forward to that. You played the demo of Gisant, didn't you?
Yes, on Steam. It is. Yeah, really cool. And again, Death Stranding vibes.
Everything's just a Strand game now, isn't it, mate? So.
Yeah, hey, look, Gisant, like, if that wasn't directly inspired by at least some of Death Stranding, then I don't know what we're doing here, because it's literally, like, it's all about climbing and, navigation mechanics. It's great. It's so cool. Yeah, I don't actually know how people feel about that game when they play it.
Yeah, I think the initial impressions that I read, because when was it shown off? Was it Xbox's E3 show?
Yes, I think.
If I remember right.
Yeah, I think that's right.
It's funny, I still call it the E3 show. I don't even know what do we even call it these days.
I don't know. Yeah,
just the summer
showcase.
Whatever it is. Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah,
but yeah, I think it got pretty positive impressions. And you just mentioned he's been contacted about reviewing it. So Indy, I mean, if you don't want to review it, it's with it being a Strand game. Yeah, hide over Luke. I'm sure he'll want to check it out.
Yeah.
So
if you're not into Strand games, I will take the burden of it off you.
Yeah. Gonna say we did back in the GPG days, we did have a PCMR segment of shows on a semi-regular basis. We might have to have a Strand segment on this if we do another one in the future.
There's going to be an increasing amount of Strand segments over the next few years, let me tell you, because there's going to be more and more Strand games coming out.
Yeah, the hottest new genre of games. We're gonna have Strand movies, Strand TV shows, Strand everywhere. So, and Norman Reedus is going to be in every single one of them, probably. So
he better be. It's not a Strand game if Norman Reedus isn't in it.
That's true. That's true. I mean, every Strand game that's been released so far has him in it. So
exactly.
They're one and the same thing, aren't they? So.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, but just sounds good. Go and play the demo on Steam if people are interested in it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see what else. I don't think Nintendo. Did Nintendo say they were going to be there? I know PlayStation aren't going to be there. Xbox.
Yeah, I can't remember if Nintendo said they were going to do any, if they were going to have a presence there on the floor, but I can't think they'd have much to show apart from Super Mario Wonder, if that was even there. Seems like they're gearing up now to, get the next Switch out next year.
Yeah, actually, that's an interesting point. That announcement's probably not too far away. I mean,
hopefully.
Yeah, I mean that's the rumors were that they're in the hands of some developers. Not too long ago. Those have kind of died down a little bit since they were first reported on. But yeah, I mean, hopefully it's not too far away because I mean, to be fair, I think we spoke about it on Twitter actually when I was playing Tears of the Kingdom. I do think that was an absolute technical marvel. That game. What they achieved on that hardware with that game is mind-boggling to be perfectly honest. So it just makes me wonder, like, what could they create with just tiny little bit of extra horsepower there with maybe some DLSS magic sprinkled in.
That's going to be such a huge boon for it, being able to have that. Even if it's just DLSS 2, it will be a massive benefit to great, games on the Switch with really good image quality, basically. Which is really the main issue I think that the Switch has. I mean, apart from the fact that it struggles to run a lot of not just third party, but also it kind of buckles under the weight of certain first party games like Light Tears actually, which is a, a technical marvel, but you can tell it's really really straining the hardware at points. But the biggest issue is just the image quality, which just goes to some kind of Vaseline mess most of the time in Tears and other games. Bayonetta 3 was truly unbelievable on the handheld mode in terms of what that can resolve at. It's a mess. But
and I've spoken about sort of how I don't like playing my Switch in handheld mode because if I compare it to the Steam Deck, for example, I really actually like holding the Steam Deck. It feels like a controller, obviously just a wider one, but the ergonomics of it are much better. So I can actually sit and play quite comfortably games on the Steam Deck, but the Switch I can't play in handheld. So what that means is I'm playing these games on a 4K TV, which kind of just highlights those those issues a little bit more. So I'm looking forward to Nintendo getting some new hardware. Hopefully it won't be too far away. So Juds, thank you very much for stopping by, mate. Absolute pleasure having you. I know BMG left early. We still got some people hanging about. Appreciate people listening to us guys just shoot the shit, as they say, about some games. So yeah, I don't think there's going to be too many big announcements at Gamescom, but we'll just have to wait and see. But we'll tune into the show. Like I say, Tuesday night, and with it being in Germany, decent time for us Europeans, which is always a boost. And yeah, like I say, looking forward to hearing some of the impressions from the likes of Wandering Dutch and Boxenberger. I'm pretty sure there's a few other guys in the community that are going to be that are heading out there as well, which is nice. And yeah, Indy mentioned there's going to be a Future Games show on the 23rd, so that'll be Wednesday. Nice. Future Games shows are generally pretty cool. Highlighting a lot of indie games as well. So nice. We got that. Look forward to. So
don't forget, we just had the what was it, the Devolver Direct as well.
Only Devolver could get away with doing a delayed direct, whatever they called it. So
I just got a notification the other day as well that they're about to ship. I actually bought one of the Volvi t-shirts.
Did you?
yeah.
Nice.
They're just about to ship it out. So I'm looking forward to representing the greatest gaming mascot of all time in Volvi soon.
Nice.
I might wear that one for EGX.
That'll have to be it, man. That'll have to
come out.
Speaking of EGX, we should hopefully be there. Obviously we've got Indy's going to be making his way down there. Hopefully we'll be able to get together and do some stuff down there. But it'll be nice. I haven't been to any sort of like game show. I mean, I think we spoke about GameStars Live many months ago. That was the last time I'd been to anything like that, and I must have been about 14 at the time. So that was some time ago. So it'll be nice to be able to go to some kind of a event like that. So hopefully we can get there. Well, obviously we know that you and India are definitely down there. I'm hoping to get down. So fingers crossed, I'll be able to see the Volvi t-shirt in person.
But you can't have it though. Cool it's mine. Just remember that. Because I know when you see it, I'll lock my door. But yeah, no, it'd be cool. I mean, look, there won't be Halo 2 at EGX, which was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in gaming. Standing for 3 hours to play a 5-minute match on Zanzibar of Halo 2. But I think they'll go pretty big at EGX this year. Like it seems like they're going for it a bit. So and it'd be good just to meet everyone, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it'll be a good time.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get a chance, and yeah, it brings back some good memories. Halo 2 on Zanzibar, mate. So and actually, I did see Stubbs asking if I was feeling alright because I haven't mentioned Halo yet. So I'll have a quick Halo segment. I'm actually a little annoyed, Stubbs, because the latest Halo book got delayed. It was meant to come out. Well, it is out in the States, annoyingly, and it's even out on bloody Kindle, if I remember right. But the physical edition got delayed until next month, so that was a little annoying. I've been looking forward to that. But I've actually quit it because I'm now just a Foamstars main. That's the only game I play now. Got early access, and that's that's the only game that I play these days. So
You joke, but that actually got weirdly good impressions from people. Who
it did,
played
yeah.
it.
Actually, yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I am taking the piss, but yeah, I remember. I think was it Andy Robertson of VGC. I
Yeah,
think
he was
came out and
like
he was like, it's unironically one of the biggest surprises of the show.
yeah, I think it was like one of the best things he played, which I couldn't quite believe when he said it. I was like, okay. But yeah, and then I read some other impressions that were really positive. I don't think I'll play it, but
Yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah, it was good to see that. I think it was probably nice for the developers to get those impressions because obviously the initial reaction was pretty negative. But I also, regardless of those impressions, the Square Enix live service game still has me
Yeah, it doesn't.
pretty skeptical after the likes of Babylon's Fall and some of their mobile efforts.
Yeah,
So I guess it remains to be seen. Also, it's just a stupid game to have console exclusive. Like
yeah,
that type of game needs to be multi-platform. That needs to be on Switch, where people play. I
yeah,
know it's very different, but it's got similar vibes at least to Splatoon. It needs to be on all platforms, I think,
yeah.
for a game like that to have a chance. So yeah, Ash is asking, what's the true game of the decade? Baldur's Gate 3 or Foamstars? Oh, what's that? That is a tough one, Ash. I think I think the real answer is obviously Foamstars. I mean, it has everything that Baldur's Gate doesn't. It's got foam for a start.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, Baldur's Gate probably has foam.
Probably. I was going to say it probably has form and something. Yeah. Probably like a central mechanic of Baldur's Gate 3 if you want it to be. But yeah.
Yeah. And he says Stumble Guys. Is that a game? That rings a bell. Indy, tell me what's Stumble Guys? Is that a piss take of Fall Guys, or is that actually a game? Because something rings a bell. I've seen something to do with Stumble Guys, I'm sure. It is a real game. It's a rip off of Fall Guys. Yeah,
nice.
I thought as much. Yeah. Actually, not quite the same, but Party Animals is going to be at Xbox's booth for Gamescom. Look, I know
I'm looking
forward to that. So.
Yeah, big fan of Gang Beasts. I've played tons of Gang Beasts this year with friends.
I've seen you on Xbox though. Actually, I haven't played it in a long time. I played it quite a lot. I'm super looking forward to Party Animals.
Yeah, because it just looks like a more involved Gang Beasts, like a more polished, more involved Gang Beasts, basically. Which I'm all for. Because Gang Beasts is just so fun and hilarious.
Yeah, there's not very many games that I play and come off having a headache from laughing so much. There's very few games that have achieved that, and yeah, Gang Beasts is one of them. So I'm very excited for that. In fact, actually, I've just thought of the game of the decade, Luke, and I think you're in agreement. Is it Palworld? The Pokemon with guns?
Pokemon Fortnite. Yeah. Well, I think that has to be, doesn't it?
That's game of the decade. So. It is. It's funny. I was thinking about like this show this week, and it's something that I would love to keep doing if you're up for it. Like, maybe not too regular, but when we've got stuff to talk about, I think it'd be pretty cool. I've really enjoyed the chat, and I was thinking about like, maybe I should get a video intro. And the thing I thought of for a video intro, how everybody shows off like Halo and God of War. I thought, what if we get a video intro where it's like Balan's Wonderworld and Palworld. It's just all just really shit games.
Palworld. We should just be a Palworld podcast. That's what we should do. We should commit, go fully into espousing the incredible game that is Palworld.
I'm wondering, is that if that game's not out yet, or even if it is, maybe we should do some sort of bet, and the loser has to play Palworld.
Yeah, stream Palworld. Yeah.
And not only that, they have to say at least one nice thing about Palworld at the end of the stream, just to make it super fun. So
I mean, we should do a Palworld stream anyway. I think because I think it's co-op, isn't it? It's like a multiplayer game.
It has to be, hasn't it? So
so we could do Pokemon Fortnite World of the
I mean, if you
kingdom.
can't decide which one to play, why not play both, Luke?
Why not?
You know,
Yeah, just
that was surely the developers' intent
I'm
behind
sure
that
there'll be
game.
some Strand elements in there somewhere as well.
Yeah,
It's just normal pop up at some
yeah.
point. God, what a game!
It's funny that might actually show up at Gamescom as well. I'm pretty sure that showed up at a couple of Jeff's shows, so it might actually
Yeah,
appear.
it has.
It
It
was
has.
at Summer Games Fest, if I remember rightly, because it was.
Yeah,
I remember reading from somebody that they felt that part of their marketing plan was to get sued by Nintendo by getting as close to to Pokemon designs as possible, which honestly wouldn't surprise me too much. So
Nice.
so
Yeah. What was that other one? That was it? It was Dokkaev, wasn't it? The
yeah,
one that actually looked kind of okay.
yeah.
Like
That was a
it
couple of
looked better
years
than
ago.
Palworld.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what
definitely.
happens to that one.
I can't
Uh,
remember. I remember because it had that incredibly annoying but like it's stuck in your head
Catchy,
song
yeah, song, yeah,
as part of it. And that might have even opened Summer Games Fest maybe two
yeah,
years ago
yeah.
or something, and that kind of blew up at the time. So yeah, maybe we'll have to do that, some sort of Dork V and Power World
Palworld,
special
yeah,
stream or
and then a
something. So
Foamstars sponsored stream.
definitely. So, Ash Jeff is a beast at Foamstars. He's currently ranked #1 in the world. I've got access to the
Yeah,
leaderboards. So,
he's the only one who probably plays it, so or that will.
he's one of one. Everyone else that's on there just hasn't played it yet. So,
Yeah,
no, we take the piss. But like you said, like the impressions were good. So hopefully it comes out and Square can have a little bit of a hit on their hands there. But yeah, Square, bring it to more consoles. It's a bloody multiplayer game. It needs to be everywhere. So
yeah,
yeah.
weird.
But I
Yeah,
think with that, mate, we can probably wrap up for tonight.
yeah.
I think I mean, it's Christ. It's we've been going for like an hour and a half, but I've really enjoyed that, mate. Have you had a good time?
Yeah, I had a great time, mate. Yeah, really enjoyed that, and I didn't think we'd end it on Palworld.
No, but that's how these
but I'm
things
kind
go
of
from
that's
next
how it
time.
goes. That's how the spontaneity happens. So yeah,
Exactly.
no, really enjoyed that, and yeah, just something a bit different for people as well,
Nice.
to enjoy. So hopefully people enjoyed that. But yeah, we'll take it away and then we'll rebrand to Palworld
Yeah.
podcast, and well, if you're looking forward to that, then we can talk all about it in the future.
Exactly. I'll have to update like the podcast title and the description just to include
Yeah.
Palworld and Foamstars and just watch it go viral.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it'll just
if
blow up.
if we're going the Palworld route, what we should actually do is just take bits from other podcasts and like make them, like meld them into one.
Yeah.
So we'll just reprehensibly steal ideas, visuals, all that kind of stuff. We could even do AI voices
Yes.
of like people in the community. We could do it all. We could really commit to it. So maybe we'll take that away. We'll do something.
And we could always get an AI indie. The
Yeah,
world can never have
yeah.
enough indie. I don't think, or his sultry tones. That is, I think
Yeah.
that's. Yeah, you can't get enough of that. So, but yeah, I've had a great time tonight, mate. I appreciate it. Ash gives us a 9.5 out of 10. I'll take it. He did say there was not enough Foamstars talk at the beginning, which we'll learn. We'll remember that for next time.
Yep.
Ash, really appreciate your constructive feedback there, mate. We will open with Foamstars next time. We will have Foamstars in the middle, and we will end on Foamstars. You know what it is? We'll definitely have to get some footage of Foamstars at the very least. When, and obviously, as we said, we'll have to play it. So, but I just wanted to say thanks to people who stopped by. Obviously, we had a few people chatting there. Ash, Indy, Stubbs. There's a few people who had to drop out. Judd's, BMG. We had a few other people in here earlier, like Wandering Dutch. I said Boxenberger was first in there, but I don't know if he stuck around. Boxy, if you stuck around, let us know, mate. But Stubbs was calling you out for not sticking around, mate. So just saying. But appreciate everybody who stuck around to listen to us. Just as I said earlier, shoot the shit. And I'm hopeful that we might have another one at some point in the not too distant future. But we're not going to commit to anything. This was just an opportunity for us just to have a good chat about games, since it's been a while since me and Luke had a good old chin wag about what's going on. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to have another one in the future. But if not, in the meantime, obviously remember you can catch us both over on the Indie Gamer channel. We should have another podcast soon. Just again, Indie, shout out, close to 3K. I think you said 13 away, so hopefully we'll get that by the next podcast. And yes, Stubbs, there will never be Gears of War talk, just to spite you. That's the only reason. Even if Gears 6 is announced, we will not talk about it. Just to spite you.
We should to do the real spy. We should actually have Gears of War talk, but it's solely on Gears of War Judgment. No other game, just about Judgment.
Yeah, or Gears Tactics maybe as well.
Oh yeah, Gears Tactics as well.
Yeah, Gears Tactics and Judgment only.
Yeah,
yeah. So just be careful what you wish for, Stubbs, because you never know, mate. You never know. But actually, I should say a big thanks to Stubbs. Stubbs has been great since I told him that we were going to be doing this. He's pushed it on Twitter. He's pushed it in his community. He's been very kind with that, and everyone else has been as well. So thank you very much, Stubbs. Thank you very much, everyone. But I think with that, we will wrap up. Unfortunately, no funky outro music. I might have to get an equally catchy outro song, but not for this show. Maybe a future show. But thank you very much, guys, for stopping by, and we'll speak soon. Take care.
See you later, guys.